Renault's little Captur crossover model has matured nicely with this smart update of the second generation design. It's now a little more visually arresting, but as before, is a Clio-based design offering super-economical engines, some genuinely clever interior touches, and no small dose of style. It'll appeal to supermini buyers wanting extra versatility, as well as family hatchback customers in search of something more interesting and affordable. And it's the kind of car that'll certainly drive sales in this segment.
The second generation version of Renault's Captur small SUV gets a fresh lease of life in this updated form. New cars don't come much more important to Renault than this one, the Captur. To be completely accurate, this isn't actually a new car, but a heavily facelifted version of the second generation Captur design we first saw back in 2020. It's one of the European sales leaders in the popular SUV B segment for supermini-based small crossovers. So as before, it's essentially a more versatile version of the French brand's little Clio hatch and sits on the same CMF-B platform, also shared by a close B-segment SUV rival, the Nissan Juke. Whereas the Juke has been quite subtly updated for its mid-term wash and brush up, this Captur gets a package of significantly more far-reaching changes, both inside and out. And the result is the most visually arresting Captur we've seen since a concept version of the successful first-generation design was shown back in 2011, 2 years before the start of production. The idea is to widen this Captur's appeal, maybe even enough to take in the Juke crowd. To find out more, you're going to need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. Mid-term updates don't usually come with significant engineering or handling changes, but in this case, Renault has tried to improve the rather forgettable handling characteristics of the original version of this second generation design. So the steering's been recalibrated for improved response and control, and the steering geometry and shock absorbers have been modified for what the brand believes is a more dynamic ride. See what you think. There are no engine changes in the petrol-only lineup. Diesel was banished long before this facelift. So this Captur range still kicks off with a 1-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder TCE 90 horsepower unit, only available mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox. It develops 160 newton meters of torque and makes 62 miles an hour in 14.3 seconds en route to 104. Ideally though, you'd stretch to the alternative auto-only full hybrid drivetrain of the self-charging sort. There's no longer a PHEV Captur. That remaining self-charging, non-plug-in E-Tech hybrid 145 powertrain is what we're trying here. And as before, mates a 1.6-litre 4-cylinder engine with a couple of electric motors, one to drive the front wheels, the other to act as a starter generator to fire up the engine. The E-motors are energised by a tiny 1.2 kilowatt-hour battery, which can power the car alone for short distances in urban traffic. And via a new e-save function, you can save battery charge for later in your journey if you want to. The whole confection still isn't particularly smooth or refined. The steering's quite light and the auto gearbox isn't particularly eager to kick down. But total system output is a competitive 145 horsepower, and 62 miles an hour occupies 10.6 seconds en route to 106. There are 4 multi-sense driving modes provided: Eco, Sport, Comfort, and the configurable Perso setting. This might be merely a facelift, but this second generation Captur looks very different in this updated form, thanks to tweaks from a team led by ex-Peugeot design director Gilles Vidal. Borrowing cues from the scenic E-Tech Electric, there's now a much less rounded front end with a more complex front grille bearing the brand's redesigned logo. Plus, the smarter front bumper features vertical lighting strakes on either side which twinkle at you as you approach the car, key card in pocket. Two-tone paint schemes are now offered, and as before, there are the usual crossover cues, primarily black wheel arch cladding and silver roof rails. Size-wise, if you want some class perspective, think fractionally bigger than a Ford Puma and a little smaller than a Peugeot 2008, and you'll be about there. Wheel sizes have increased, now ranging from 17 to 19 inches. The rear of this updated model gains transparent tail light housings, plus a simpler rear bumper and diffuser. Inside, Renault has concentrated on providing a slightly trendier, better quality feeling cabin embellished on this top Esprit Alpine model with blue stitching, blue-grained fascia finishing and even a little French tricolour ahead of the front passenger. There's still much the same rather oversized steering wheel, but the fabric-trimmed fascia looks nice. Recycled fabrics feature heavily. And leather and chrome have been banished from this updated Captur to reflect Renault's sustainability ambitions. All Capturs now come with this portrait format 10.4-inch open R-Link central screen with a raft of fresh connectivity functions and wireless smartphone mirroring. Built in are Google Maps, a Google Voice Assistant and easy access to lots of apps through the Google Play Store. An Archimedes audio system is incorporated as well, along, of course, with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration, and a rather old-fashioned looking reversing camera display. Shortcuts labelled car, apps, phone and music feature along the screen's upper frame, above which physical audio volume buttons have thankfully been retained. A reminder that you're in a Renault, though, comes with the screen creaks that are evident as you grasp the monitor to use them. Plus, there are a couple of USB-C ports, both front and rear, and all models now get a wireless charging mat. Thankfully, climate controls have been separated out from the screen. Another tech upgrade is this 10.25-inch digital driver's display, which you get above base trim and which offers a choice of 4 layouts. There's one with virtual dial selections, one with just data, and 2 more that prioritise either drive assist functionality or full screen mapping. The right-hand side of the screen can be configured to show either a power meter, your music choice, an eco monitor, an energy flow meter, trip data, or water temperature. We referenced build quality earlier. Lower quality plastics you can forgive at this price point, but some of the tactile stuff ought to be a bit better. The gear selector, for instance, still feels rather cheap and moves around too much in its housing. Practicality is reasonable though. You get a deep lidded box and cup holders between the seats, and a bin ahead of the gear lever with a 12-volt socket and twin USB-C ports, plus a cubby in the centre stack, and a further storage area below the angular jutting console. Better models now get a wireless charging mat. As usual in small right-hand drive Renaults, the glove box is halved in size by the fuse box, but you do get big door bins and ticket clips in the sun visors. In the back, as before, the Captur features a sliding rear bench, still not that common in the segment, though it only slides in one section and isn't accompanied by reclining backrests. Even if you don't use it, there's a little more legroom than you usually get in a supermini-based crossover, and though headroom isn't generous, taller adults will just about fit. Overhead grab handles are missing, but twin USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket are provided, as are twin vents, netted seat back pockets and decently sized door bins. Boot space depends on the engine you've chosen and the position of the rear bench. With the conventional TCE 90 engine, there's 484 litres when the bench is slid back, or 616 litres when it's pushed forward. With this E-Tech full hybrid, the figures fall to 348 litres and 480 litres. It's a pretty practical space with a useful adjustable height boot floor, a dim light on the left and 2 bag hooks. Fold the rear backrest down and the TCE 90 offers 1,596 litres of space. With this hybrid, it's 1,458 litres. Prices haven't changed too much. As we filmed in autumn 2024, Captur asking figures were starting from around £21,000 or around £25,000 upwards for this E-Tech full hybrid version. There are 3 trim levels: Evolution, Techno, or if you want the hybrid, this smarter looking Esprit Alpine option. All are well equipped, as is needed if this Renault to take on similarly priced key players in the SUV B segment, like Ford's Puma, Peugeot's 2008, Citroen's C3 Aircross, Vauxhall's Mokka, Nissan's Juke, Volkswagen's T-Cross, Skoda's Kamiq and Seat's Arona. Even base Evolution spec comes with 17-inch alloy wheels, air conditioning, a wireless phone charger and a 10.4-inch open R-Link central touchscreen with built-in Archimedes sound system. Upgrade to mid-level Techno spec and Renault adds 18-inch alloy wheels, the larger 10.25-inch digital instrument display, extra onboard Google services and roof rails. This top Esprit Alpine trim gives you 19-inch Elixir wheels plus heat for the front seats and steering wheel, along with adaptive cruise control, various sporty touches and elegant nods to the Alpine brand. With its new electronic architecture, this updated Captur is now on a par with the best for active and passive safety. New generation driving aids such as active driver assist with level 2 autonomous driving, and predictive hybrid driving with the hybrid powertrain optimise efficiency by maximising the use of electrical energy while driving. The European General Safety Regulation, GSR2, requires some ADAS features to be activated by default every time the car is started. For this purpose, a new function, the My Safety Switch, lets drivers enable or disable their preferred settings for 5 ADAS at the same time at the touch of a button. The TCE90 base manual model returns up to 47.9 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 134 grams per kilometre of CO2 and is BIK tax rated at 31%. The E-Tech full hybrid 145 power plant improves that to 61.4 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 104 grams per kilometre on the WLTP cycle. It's BIK tax rated at 26%. This hybrid variant's useful new eSave function maintains battery charge at 40% minimum. This allows you to save battery charge until you might need it, perhaps for urban driving later in your trip. You'll need to be pretty permanently in the Eco multi-sense drive setting to get anywhere near the economy figures we've just given you. So you can monitor your frugality. An Eco monitor is provided in the instrument cluster. And there's a My Driving section of the centre screen that awards you an Eco score based on efficiency. With this hybrid, a power flow meter on both screens allows you to see what's being driven by what. As for peace of mind, well, there's Renault's usual unremarkable 3-year or 60,000 mile warranty package. The brand used to provide longer warranties than this. You also get UK emergency breakdown recovery and 3 years worth of European cover as part of this warranty deal. Plus, we'll tell you that scheduled servicing is every 12 months or 18,000 miles, whichever comes first. As usual, prepaid servicing plans are also available, and industry experts reckon this second generation Captur will be worth around 49% of its original value after 3 years or 36,000 miles, which is reasonably class competitive. Insurance groupings range from 11E for the TCE90 to 16 for the hybrid, and after 3 years and 36,000 miles, the car's predicted to retain between 52 and 55% of its original list price. Historically, in our market, the Captur has never sold quite as well as it does in continental Europe. But such is the step forward represented by this updated Mark II model that we think there's scope for that to change. It's passionate, practical, and pretty stylish. As a result, many target customers will find it quite an endearing little thing. Of course, there's always a danger with this class of car that in its mix of SUV, MPV and family hatch, you end up with a confection lacking the core strengths inherent in any of those three genres. Broadly speaking, this is a trap Renault has avoided here, provided your expectations in each of these areas aren't too great. Like its rivals, this car doesn't have four-wheel drive. You can only just carry 5 people and you won't want to drive it on its door handles. None of which will bother most buyers at the smaller end of the crossover segment, one jot. Yes, there are some things we'd like to see Renault work on, some minor cabin quality issues, the drivability of the EDC auto gearbox and perhaps a fractionally more comfort-orientated damping setup. But we can't see much of this deterring likely buyers. They'll love the buying personalisation and trendy touches like the clever infotainment system, the sliding rear bench and the double-height boot floor. True, this Captur faces strong competition from a growing band of very talented rivals, but it's a model you must consider before buying any one of them. A cleverer crossover. If you really want a car of this kind, then you'll really want to try it.